Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm reacting to more spooky videos. It's a random video about alien abductions and whatnot I found. It's like a random animation. It's called 3 UFOs and Aliens Horror Stories animated by DSA Dark Knight Animations. I don't know, it's a random animation I found. I'm going in blind, okay, so I don't know what's even in the video. I just decided, you know what? Let's just take a gamble. Anyway, hold on. Let me cut the music and get it started. Hold on. Let me just. Okay, I cutted the music. Now. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Let me get the window open. All right. There we go. All right. Okay. So yeah, 3 UFOs and aliens horror story animated. So it's supposed to be a true story involving aliens. Now, my personal belief on aliens is it's a massive galaxy. Most likely there are other life forms in the galaxy. But have they come to Earth? I personally couldn't tell ya. I have yet to see any good evidence of that. Just claims and then some absurd things. Like I remember hearing a story where a guy claimed he got probed, but apparently it turned out he was kidnapped and bad stuff happened to him. That's all I'm gonna say about that story. It was no aliens that probed him. That's all I'll say. Anyway, like it's not funny. It's like fucked up actually. Like quite fucked up. It's just that guy's just saying it was aliens or something. Hold on, let me just adjust the screen. Okay, let's go. Please
I remember
subscribe.
watching the movie's Avatar when it first came out in the theater. My buddies and I went full
Okay, fun fact: I've never watched Avatar. And whenever people say Avatar, I immediately think of Avatar The Last Airbender, but then I remember, oh, they're talking about the movie where the Smurfs fight humans for resources or something like that. Isn't that what it is? Basically, they're the Smurfs, or wouldn't that? No, that was a South Park bit. But yeah. I remember. I know what the movie is. It's just I've never watched it.
fan mode going to that movie. We were not wrong to do so, and it was pretty much brilliant as we sat in, and the experience that we had watching the movie was beyond expression. And as the movie finished, it was something that we loved way beyond what we could imagine. And we were so excited that we were ready to do a full dive into the world of extraterrestrial. And the buddies and I decided to look for ourselves the evidence of their existence. Now that
Okay, so watching that Avatar movie made you into aliens. That's kind of to me. That's kind of weird. Like of all the movies, I wouldn't get into like alien stuff because of that movie. It just doesn't look like the type of movie I'd enjoy. Though, to be fair, I'm a difficult person to like. Movies rarely interest me. Like I don't even really watch movies that much, if I'm being honest. Like, let's just say Hollywood's been kind of disappointing, and they just keep making movies I don't give a crap about. Ugh, especially the video game movies have been bad lately, like Borderlands, Minecraft. Yeah, well, the Minecraft one looks awful. Keep in mind, I don't play Minecraft that much either. Also, why is Jack Black in everything? And don't get me wrong, I like Jack Black. He's cool. And I'm pretty sure he was the only good character in Borderlands, which was Claptrap. And he did a good Bowser. He's done good movies after that. Like, I still like the movie Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny, or whatever it was called. That was the last Jack Black movie I watched. It's hilarious. A long ass fucking time ago, and I forgot the lyrics. I'm not gonna sing it. But yeah, but anyway. Back on subject. Yeah, That movie would not get me into alien stuff and taking interest in like extraterrestrials. If anything, like a horror movie involving aliens would. But that's just me. I'm like a horror fan, dude. Anyway, continuing.
We had seen the film, there was something inside us that was pushing us to look into the matter, as to research it and look forward to it, and
Research. Well, I happen to be a scientist myself, and not some guy who just put on a lab coat because he found it off a dead scientist. Okay, I might have killed the scientist. I might have. I might have. But that's how you become a scientist, right? You fight for the title. You had a fight. I mean, the guy was cowering because calling me a mutant freak, but you know that just made it easier because he was cowering. So yeah, I won, and I got the lab coat. So look who's a mutant freak now. Now I'm a mutant freak with a lab coat. FYI, I'm not a mutant. Just look at that part of my head. It's sewed on. I'm like a Frankenstein's monster or something. I don't know.
how it could work, and how can we actually be able to figure certain things about their existence or their knowing. Now, to keep in mind, we were not scientists and we were not researchers. We were
Bro, just get a lab coat like I did, and you will all be scientists. People will believe you. It's that or they'll think you're a doctor. I could never be a doctor. I'd be too scared.
just some guys who had seen Avatar, and we thought that maybe there are people like that living among us, aliens
They said Among Us.
and extraterrestrials. And since we were really close to the Roswell site, we knew that we will be able to
Roswell? Oh shit. My dudes, you gonna see something. uh, okay, so yeah. I think the only place I've been to that's like near like anything alien related. I've often visited Las Vegas and I guess Area 51's there. Which sure it would be interesting to like explore Area 51, but obviously you can't because it's a military base. It's a real ass military base. I've heard I've watched like videos of people going to like the gate and whatnot, and then two biker dudes got like arrested or something. I don't know. It's interesting. That's all I'll say.
find something. Some story that will confirm the presence of the aliens. But there is the issue where military often finds ways to interject between these researches. An only thing that we were
That's what I think would get people into like alien stuff. If you watch like the X Files, because that the X Files has to do with like aliens and stuff like that. Like X Files is kind of wacky sometimes, but a lot of time it has to do with aliens because like the main one of the main characters, Mulder, is super into aliens, and then there's Scully. She's like super skeptic about all of that stuff. I think there was a movie that where they actually encountered aliens, but they killed off like in one season. Agent Mulder had a replacement, and the actor of the replacement was the guy from Terminator 2. He played the evil Terminator. That was like the liquid one that would shapeshift. He was the cop, but often disguised itself as a cop. Yeah, that actor was in X Files, but there was like a reason why Mulder just wasn't there that season, and then Scully's new partner was that guy, and eventually he got killed off in a movie. Which shame, I didn't actually hate that character, but Mulder became like the main, like he took his spot as one of the main characters. Like I think they just killed him off because they were just waiting until Mulder got back. I mean, at the very least, at least he was in the movie, but that kind of sucks. They could have kept that character around. Was it the movie he got killed off in? Because I'm just remembering one of the movies. Of course, I think that movie was non-canon anyway. So yeah, don't they have new episodes of the X Files now? I should really watch them. Sorry, I'm like nerding out about the X Files. I saw the X Files as a kid. Okay.
scared about was knowing things and not being able to tell the world because the military will get to us and probably disappear us from the face of the earth. And
Yeah,
there were
that.
these so many scenarios that we had built up that there were no way happening, or even if they were, we were just blowing them out of proportions. And all of that, not because we were a man of science or belonged to that field,
They just
but
liked
because we
aliens.
saw a really good movie about it. Avatar became the inspiration of our great journey into finding the unknown. And we decided to make it a week trip. And we
Again, a weird movie about to to get into finding the unknown is Avatar. Isn't Avatar just a movie where yeah they know there's aliens there already and it's just like a sci-fi movie where they're trying to take resources from the aliens, essentially making the humans the villains in that movie because they're invading that planet. So yeah, that's all I know about Avatar is we're the villains in the movie and we're trying to just take all their resources. We're the alien invader in that movie's case.
made a decision that if we
Sorry, I
couldn't
yap a
find
lot.
anything, we will return. We booked an RV and started our journey. But first, we took enough supplies for us to last for weeks.
Uh-huh.
We took the updated map and decided to mark the places that we wanted to look into it. We couldn't just make it an everyday thing, so we had to do it all in a week and then move on with our work. Now that all our resources were gathered up,
I mean, you could make it a you could make it like a thing you do like every day if you have a YouTube. People are into that type of thing. Just saying.
were ready to make the trip.
Of course, you got to get
and
popular. That's
we
luck.
started this trip, and first thing
At
we
least
did
I
was
think.
take a stop at the motel park so we could park our RV and stay the night before we head.
Harv. Holy shit! I forgot. I'm in. My fucking ad blocker stopped working.
This game,
I'm gonna skip
you're
this.
not ready for it.
I don't care.
Deep into the
Oh, I'm ready.
unknown desert.
Eve sucks.
We
I don't like
had
that game.
no idea what was in store for us until one of my friends came in, and he was frantically looking at the sky and said, "I saw it! I saw it! It was a sighting! It's them! It's them! Definitely them!"
Huh.
We immediately knew what he was talking about, and we started our RV, and then decided to trail the sight he had saw. And then, as we were doing that, we realized it was too dark, and we were too much deep into the parts where trailing wasn't enough. We were almost going blind into the.
No, part of me thought when he was saying it's them. For some reason in my head, the song "Here Comes the Man in Black, Man in Black, the Galaxy Defenders." You know that one song that's from the movie Men in Black. It's essentially like it's like an alternate version of an old song where it's what do you say? I want to say parody because it's about the Men in Black, but is it a parody? Would you consider it a parody? Because it's normally like a completely different song. Oh well, I just know Will Smith singing that one. But yeah, for some reason I was thinking of that almost. Here comes the Man in Black in my head. I should watch that movie. That's okay. That movie's more understandable about getting people into like interested in like alien stuff, sightings, abduction stories, and all that because the Men in Black movie was based off of the real life Men in Black stories, or at least the organization anyway. Because in the movie, it's just a government agent thing, and then it's just a government. They're just a secret government branch that deals with aliens. In the real life stories, no one knew what the Men in Black were, and it's believed they were aliens because there was something strange about every Men in Black claim. It was apparently some tall dudes, bald usually. They look the same, like they're twins. They wear black suits, a black fedora. Something inhuman about them, like an uncanny valley vibe coming from them. and they would always ask weird questions and then threaten people. I mean, there's even footage of like a Men in Black sighting. Apparently, people said like like there was one. I forgot what it was called, but yeah, there was a dude who claimed he saw a UFO. He worked at a hotel, but then when he went out for, it was either he went out for lunch or he clocked out, and then in the later that day in the security footage, there's like these two tall dudes in like a suit and fedora showing up. You could see them in the security cameras, and they said people said they seemed strange, and they were asking specifically for that guy because he didn't really tell anyone about the fact he saw like a UFO or something, which is weird. But yeah, like according to because of the Men in Black movie, apparently people claim that oh yeah, they're government agents or something like in the sightings or whatever it's believed. Because in the sightings they mentioned those things saying that they're government agents, but they're not really. I don't know. Anyway, sorry I'm rambling. Let's continue the video. I just I just find this alien stuff interesting.
The place that was off
Should look up more
maps.
videos
The
on
roads
stuff like
were
that.
all off grid, and we had to dump the car because there was no road. We had to take the road on foot because we were not ready to get the RV
Hell
into
no.
jeopardy, since the RV was rented and we could possibly not risk losing the security. So
Oh.
we trailed on foot, hoping to see what the trails were like. But then the unexpected happened, and we were not aware of the trouble that we were going into. And then we all, one by one, fell into this hole that we didn't see
Oof.
coming. Each and every one of us fell.
Would you say you never saw it coming? Can't you see that my mind's too fast for eyes? You're done, and I need to play Persona 5. I've played Persona 2, Persona 3, some of Persona 4, but I never played 5. Persona 2, I never beaten. Persona 3, I've beaten. I haven't played Reload, though. Anyway, I'm getting off topic again. But yeah, you walked into a hole that you suddenly didn't see. Like, I would think you guys would have noticed, like, after the first guy falls in the hole. Sorry, hiccups. After you guys would stop and then back away and maybe go find something to get the dude out. Like maybe something's in the RV. Maybe there's like RVs. Like I've stayed in an RV for like a while, like for like a long time in the past. Like had to, but not explaining that. But most RVs come with like a water hose because you need like a water hose to hook up to your RV to like if you're in an RV park or something that has like hookups for RVs, you have to hook up your water to an RV. So maybe there would be a water hose you could use as a rope for the first dude who climbed in, who fell in the hole, and you could like have him climb out, use it like a rope. Like if it's a rented RV, it has to have like stuff like that. Like unless you're expected to buy it. I don't know how rented RVs work.
Into
Anyway,
that hole one by one, and we thought that it was one of those secret government holes. And we
it wasn't.
realized it, we were slipping into it, and then saw that it was completely abandoned. At the time, we took a relief. We were just relieved that we were not in any mortal danger. And then I saw that the place seemed to be in changing, and all that stuff was being moved, or was in the middle of being moved. When I saw the markings on the door, it wasn't in symbols, and we had no idea what it was. And I was looking.
Face scanner. I mean, I'm just assuming from the animation, the way they made this, it scans your face and then you can go in or something. Like maybe it's a secret government thing. I mean, they said they're near Roswell, and like if you believe in the alien claims stuff, maybe that would make sense. I don't fucking know. Or it could just be a secret like government thing. Like maybe not even alien related. Maybe it's just like a bunker or something that they fell into. Like an old government bunker. Anyway.
walking towards it and moved in. It got out and then scanned me, and the voice said, "Humans approaching the bay door." And as the computerized voice said that, the door opened. And as the door opened, it led into another
It said humans approaching. What? That's weird.
gallery.
If this is true,
And
by
from
the way.
gallery into a balcony. And as we walked towards it, we lost our mind and could not believe what we were seeing. The balcony opened itself to a different world. It was like Earth, but there were forests and rivers, and most importantly, some bases were built in between those, and we could not believe ourselves. It was unreal. And as we walked down the balcony, we saw that there were things like Hyperloop already working at their maximum efficiency there. And we realized, but were too scared to admit the fact that humanity was being helped after all. And the amazement, the real moment of wonder, was seeing these green human-like creatures who were rebuilding this really large wall. And we were just amazed and bewildered by.
Okay, I'm not too sure about this story. Apparently, I think these are supposed to be like true stories, but again, it's just me being very skeptical. I'd have to have been there to believe that. Like, I'd have to. For me to believe in like these types of things, I have to like see something with my own eyes. Like the whole ghost thing when I reacted to like paranormal videos. The reason why I have some belief in like ghost stuff is because growing up I seen one, which I honestly don't give a crap if people don't believe me. I know what I saw. Like Jesus Christ, and it still kind of scares me till this day. Well, to this day, I meant to say, but yeah. But alien stuff, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that growing up. But I do believe, the massive universe is bound to have some life out there. It would be boring if it was just us. And I'm being serious, that would be boring as hell. Like, geez, that sucks. Anyway, continuing.
This notion that how can an ecosystem like that exist in such a small place? And there were definitely questions that we wanted to ask. And next thing you know, this alarm went off. New humans detected. And then, just in a couple of hours, there were people, and the aliens, I guess, surrounded us. And as soon as they did, they decided to look at us and ask, "You have two options now. You leave your life and you forever work with us, or we wipe your memory." There was this curiosity.
Okay, so how what? Then how are you telling the story? Obviously, you chose option 2. I don't know. You know what? Let's just let this continue.
That wanted me to go work for them, and even my buddies reconsidered. But our life back home, however miserable they might seem, were worth the hopes. So we chose to get our memories wiped off. As they were doing the flash thing through imaging, I guess it got unnoticed and I sneezed. And when I did, I realized nothing happened to me. And I acted that way my friends did. They had no clue, but I remembered it all. And to this day, I keep this a secret.
It all happened.
Until you post it on the internet. Great, the aliens know now. Okay, but yeah, that last story, I don't know about that. I don't think I believe that. So what? He somehow remembered it because he sneezed as the Men in Black flashy thing happened. While everyone else in his friend group doesn't remember. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that story, but whatever. Is that a Goku shirt? That guy has a Goku shirt. Cool.
When I was babysitting for this family in my town.
Everyone knows Hercule's
Their
the
daughters were
best Dragon Ball
6
Z
and 10.
character.
I was 16 back then. I ordered the pizza, and we all ate that, and then went on to play video games for the next hour or so, until Mabel, the young daughter, wanted to sleep. Mabel slept, and Violet, who was the older one, discussed the idea of watching Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, I don't.
Now, which one is it? Because I swear to God, if it's the reboot, awful choice. Awful choice. The reboot is just awful. Like, my God. Like, they changed Freddy Krueger's story to, oh yeah, he's like, he like creeps on children or something like that. Even though in the original, there was never any evidence he did. Well, the first one anyway, I'm talking about. All that was known was, yeah, he was weird, but he just wanted to torture children, not like be a PDF file. If you don't know what that means, well, too bad. Yeah, some people don't know what PDF file means when you call someone that. But anyway, yeah, in the original he wasn't. He was just a crazy guy. He just wanted to torture children, but then he also was kind of weird in like later ones. Anyway, continuing.
Know if her parents would have allowed that. I even wondered why they even hired a babysitter, since Violet was pretty responsible herself. But
oh my God, another ad. Time to skip. Damn.
But
I should play that game.
I agreed to watch the
I was gonna download it.
Did not want to look like an uptight dude.
First Descendant, by the way.
We started watching it, and I brought in popcorn. She was pretty terrified, and we were sharing the blanket on our feet, quietly enjoying the movie. At around midway in the movie, we started hearing rustling noises on the outside. At first, I thought maybe their parents were home, so I told her to switch to The Princess Bride, so I don't get scolded for showing a horror flick. As I got, there was nothing. I got back inside, and she was on the phone. It was her parents. They said they'd be late. The roads have been blocked, and there is a rumor that the power will go shortly. They ordered me to go back and instructed the daughter to shut the doors and sleep. She told me that I just couldn't shake the feeling of leaving both of them alone. So I stayed with them, just to make sure. We stood there talking about things. She was smarter than her age, and she asked me all the questions about school and stuff, and we ended up doing her homework. And the power just went off cold, but we were ready. I told her to go to her sister, and she did. I stood down and locked all the doors and windows.
Yep.
It felt like a storm would build up. I went up and informed her about everything. 3 of us gathered around the TV, so it could be easier in case we had to make a run for things or cover. We got together to talk about things while Mabel slept. It was like one of those slumber parties that we had as a kid, and we chatted a lot, until...
Gonna be real though, I would have been kind of creeped out in this situation just because the power goes out. I haven't experienced blackouts that often. Well, did as a kid, but then as I got older, I rarely experienced blackouts. The only time electricity would go off is when the bill needed to be paid at one point. But yeah, I think and then he said there was like going to be a storm, right? So yeah, that would have added to the creepiness. But you know, that's just me. I'm kind of a coward. But then I remember the story says aliens, UFOs.
The room started shaking. It felt like it was an earthquake. I quickly made Rabel and Violet go take a cover and did it myself. I rolled on the flashlight to them and told them to make way for the door outside. Before all the shaking, they made their way to the door and we stepped outside. It was just the 3 of us and a couple more people since everybody was already out of town due to vacations. And as we stepped outside, we turned on the flashlights. Violet was holding me tightly, and I was carrying Mabel as she closed her eyes. Violet closed her eyes all the time too. And in a few minutes, a stream of lights made the night sky bright. And as it happened, I told Violet to open her eyes. It was beautiful. It seemed like a big, flat, square disc making its way to the sky.
That's when you go back in your house because I've played Voices of the Void. Whenever there's like some weird light, some weird shit's gonna happen. You go back in your house and you lock everything. Like, cause fuck that. Fuck that. That's all I gotta say.
It was flying way closer than most flying vehicles, as an airplane or gliders or helicopters did. I and Violet and Mabel kept looking at it, mesmerized. The sky was all red, and soon, as we were in awe, we were terrified. As it rained fire from the rear of that unidentified object, almost as if it was crashing.
Yeah, crash. Don't worry, the government's just gonna tell you it's swamp gas or a weather balloon.
I held the girls with
Usually.
all my grip strength, and we ran towards the house and took cover. We huddled together beneath the table, wrapping ourselves with Mabel's blanket. After an hour later, we went outside. The smoke from that flying object withered the whole city invisible, and the redness of its light was still there. Our town looked exactly like that upside down from Stranger Things. This was...
I was gonna make a joke. You might see. It's okay. I've seen stranger things than this. Because I wanted to reference Stranger Things. I haven't finished watching that.
was the memory that Stranger Things brought for me. Mabel and Violet's...
If you're in the
parents
upside
were
down,
very
you're
grateful,
kind of screwed.
and I did not
You
leave as
gotta
I
get out.
arrived at around 8 in the morning. The UFO was a government spacecraft mission that failed and crashed at an abandoned site not far from our town. I shortly moved to New York that next summer. Moving forward to 10 years, I was 26 and out on a date. My date came in and introduced herself. We lived in a small town. It was Violet. She was 20 and was studying at NYU. We started dating, and the first thing we discussed was the night that it all happened. We have been married for 4 years now, and it all came back to us when we binge-watched The Stranger Things, almost as if it had a part of our life somewhere in it.
Jeez.
No matter how much I wish it wasn't, this story is completely true. I wasn't drunk and I wasn't high on...
Okay, so yeah, the last story was kind of weird. You know, apparently a lot of people theorize that the whole UFO things people claim to see are it's just like the government testing aircrafts or whatever. Or it's either that or people are just fucking crazy and making shit up. Anyway, usually there's an intro to this next video, I guess. Well, this is the last one, I think. It says it's supposed to be 3 of them. Or is it 3 ones about UFOs and 3 ones about aliens? I don't know.
any drugs. Neither was my friend, but I fear his state of mind might have been permanently altered due to his experience with these beings. Secondly, I like to consider myself a rational thinking type of person, with years of experience hunting and hiking around my hometown in Wyoming. I've seen all kinds of fauna and flora, so I didn't confuse what I saw.
These kind of remind me of like the Llama Arts animations somewhat, like the early ones. Like similar vibe with them. It's just the Llama Arts animations I saw were mostly involving like ghosts and stuff, like true horror stories. Which not all of the Llama Arts' animations are from stories involving like ghosts and stuff. Some of them are like real, because I think one was like a person trying to kidnap someone or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, continuing.
Saw for something entirely different.
Awaken to a world of wonder in Final Fantasy XIV Online.
Yes, I used to play that. I know.
It all started when I went to a friend's house to celebrate.
So
his
cool
birthday.
anime
He was turning
trailer.
18, and I was already 18 myself.
And I'm not being sarcastic. I really like Final Fantasy 14. It's just I had to stop playing it because, well, one, the subscription costs. I hate paying for a subscription. And two, I stopped at the Shadowbringers expansion. Anyway, continuing with the story.
His uncle, a man more native to the land than myself, was 27.
By the way, apologies for the ads. I'm using the wrong internet browser. My other internet browser has an ad block. But it was too late, so you know. If I do another reaction, it's gonna be on that browser.
Let's call this friend James. I finally got to his house at about 4 p.m. that night. It was January 25th. Since he effectively lived in the middle of nowhere and at the foothills of the Rockies, I was keen on bringing something with me in case I ran into some trouble, like a bear or something of the like. So I brought along with me a .357 Magnum and some binoculars in case my friend wanted to try and hunt some coyotes with his .223 rifle. We started doing our normal routine for most of the day, playing games on his computer, watching some TV, and just chilling out and talking about school. His parents were away on a business trip to a nearby town, so they left James and his uncle the house to themselves. The thing that James loved the most in the world was easily his dogs. He had 2 chocolate labs and a golden retriever.
Yeah, I remember hearing stories about like aliens just killing dogs. Is this what's gonna happen? Like some fucked up shit happens, and like the stories end up like, oh yeah, he had 2 dogs, and then he finds the dogs. His organs are hanging out, or their bodies inside out, and you could see their organs and shit, like weird fucking shit like that. And then they're traumatized because what the fuck? Why?
The retriever was actually fairly old.
I'm just betting on that.
In Wyoming, and people not really giving a hoot. The dogs were left out all
A hoot?
day. They came and went as they pleased back to his house. Sometime around 8 or 9 p.m., we heard his dogs begin barking at something off in the distance. At this point, the sun was long gone, but the full moon gave an amazing amount of light. I looked through the nearby window in the direction of the dogs barking. Even with the moon shining against the snow, I could not see anything up to the tree line that was nearly a mile away. "There's nothing there," I said. "Are you sure? They don't even bark at deer anymore," James whispered to me. The whole situation was weird. Fast forward an hour, and his dogs have not been heard or seen since the barking started. His uncle was buzzed and watching something on their huge TV. James was beginning to worry that something happened to his dogs. Now, wolves can still be dangerous in the Rockies, and they have no problem taking down a random dog that wanders into the woods. This is the moment where I started to get anxious, partly because he wanted to get his dog back, and partly because wolves sometimes kill sheep or even cows. So if they were desperate, I'm sure they would have no problem with us. Even still, those dogs were his family. So we grabbed our guns and we headed outside.
Yeah, don't leave without the guns. Just saying, you're like in the middle of the woods, right?
We were armed with heavy clothing, as well as my .357, the binoculars, and his .223 rifle. We braced ourselves, and we headed out into the Wyoming winter, with temperatures 20 below freezing.
Like, again, I know this is a story about, like, horror stories about, like, aliens and shit. Like, again, if you're in the woods, you're just wandering the woods, it's good to have something to protect yourself with, whether it be like a knife or something. This is one of those cases where I believe, yeah, a bat probably won't help with what's in the woods much. It depends. It depends. It could be a weirdo stalking you in the woods. It could be like a small, aggressive animal where you have no choice but to defend yourself. Otherwise, it's gonna bite you and injure you. Or, I don't know. Like, I'm sure this is about, oh, like, we might have run into an alien or something. Or, like anything any type of threat that's coming at you, you're gonna want to defend yourself. So, yeah, it's good they brought the guns. It's good. some like in some of those reactions to those spooky clips caught on camera, like that dude who was camping in a park that's like near the woods. Why didn't you bring anything to protect yourself with? Because there's always people in a park, and when it's late at night, they're up to no good and they're doing some fucked up shit probably. Like that guy needed a weapon, like he says he had a knife or something. Yeah, and they kept coming towards him like they not saying anything. They had ill intentions of that guy. He needed a gun, like for real. They they would probably just turn around and walk away if he had a gun. And then if they were just weirdos coming towards him regardless, I mean they ain't gonna reach him because when you gotta fire the gun, you gotta fire the gun when a threat's heading your way. Anyway, sorry for pausing again.
going the direction of where we last saw his dogs.
Yeah.
The whole time we walked toward the tree line, my veins were being flooded with adrenaline, the same feeling I got every time I hunted. But tonight, we definitely weren't hunters. We were about 300 yards
Tonight, Gehrman joins the hunt. That's a Bloodborne reference. I love Bloodborne. Favorite Souls game.
away from the tree line when James suddenly stopped.
I've beaten it
With my
multiple
eyes
times.
trained on the ground and looking
And
for
the
signs of an
DLC.
animal, I
You'll see I
almost ran
beat
into
once.
him. He just stared at the tree line. He kept whispering for me to look at the trees. Slowly, he raised his left index finger towards the foothills of the mountains. As soon as he knew I was looking towards the trees, he readied his rifle and pointed it towards them. I noticed at this point that his breathing was extremely rapid and raspy, like he just witnessed a fatal car crash right in front of him. At that point, I honestly didn't know what he was talking about. I scanned the tree line over and over. I crouched down to sit on the snow. I used the binoculars towards where he pointed. It took me about 30 seconds, but eventually I saw what scared the hell out of him. There was something out there, and it wasn't human, and it wasn't his dog.
Oh.
Something on 4 legs came out from behind a tree at the edge of the forest. It must have been about 3 feet tall at the shoulder. Of course, at first I assumed it was a wolf, or maybe even a small bear. A few seconds later, several more of these things came out of the woods. I didn't pause to try and count them.
Okay, if there's multiple of them, you gotta run. I mean, unless you got a really good gun and you got really good aim. This is where you... Well, okay, let's be honest. Maybe running is not the best thing. Maybe slowly and quietly taking your leave might be a better situation. Because you don't know how these things are going to react. You know what those kind of look like? They look like the monster from The Quiet Place somewhat. I'm getting like vibes, Quiet Place vibes. So you're going to want to be quiet and sneaky because if it's the monsters, if they're like the monsters from The Quiet Place, or what's it called? A Quiet Place. I forgot what that movie is. The one where they can't make noise. And then there's like threats. There's like monsters that they're blind, but it's like based off of sound. That's how they come after kill. That's how they'll kill you. Well, they eat you and kill you, but yeah, bullets don't really affect them that much. I mean, well, didn't they actually kill the monster from Quiet Place? A Quiet Place or whatever. I keep forgetting what the name of the movie is. I just know it's Quiet Place or A Quiet Place or The Quiet Place. I forgot what it's called. But yeah, bullets didn't affect that monster that much, so I don't know about this, but if this is a true story, it'll probably work, and maybe it won't anger whatever the hell they're seeing. I don't know.
But there was at least 6 or 7, and who knows how many more were hiding in the trees still. We watched them slowly walk out of the trees for several minutes. These animals seemed strangely cautious or slow for whatever reason. Maybe they were scared of people. Then they eventually stopped as a howl from a dog or wolf came out from behind us. It was far enough away for us to not worry about it, but close enough for the unknown animals out there to hear the howl as well. I looked back through the binoculars and could almost make out the general texture of these creatures. They were now about 275 yards away. They looked pale and thin. They still appeared to be something like wolves or even large dogs. But my heart began to race when I saw what they did next. These things, whatever they were, picked up their pace fast, reaching speeds of what looked like...
Oh my fucking god, I hate these commercials. These commercials suck.
like 15 to 20
Your game
miles
is
per
shit.
hour,
Stop
judging from
advertising.
how fast they closed their distance to the direction of the howl. And coincidentally, this was almost right at us. After a minute or so, James lost it and tried to get up to run away. I grabbed him and threw him on the ground as he started to run, but this caught the attention of the beasts, and they stopped. James and I, frozen with fear, sat down in the snow, weapons ready. I almost lost it as well when I noticed that the eyes of these things reflected the moonlight. They were orange in color. They didn't really glow like in some stories of cryptids. They were more piercing. We stared at them, and they stared back at us for what seemed like hours until one of these creatures stood up on its back legs. At this moment, all of my knowledge on hunting and animals was meaningless. I knew that some animals could stand up on their back legs, but they could never do it very long. I audibly counted to see how long it stayed like that. 5 seconds, 10, 15. Then James screamed and pointed his 223 to the right. I looked in his direction, and I saw a creature on the left side of the group begin to get up, and it ran away from the pack. Dumbfounded, I turned my attention to the rest of them, and I told James to keep watching the one that ran away. I do a quick count of the ones that remained, the ones that were staring us down.
Jeez.
There were only 4. My heart pounded out of my chest. There was no way we could have lost something.
Okay, so... do these qualify as aliens? This sounds more like a cryptid story. Like, more of a cryptid. I know they tried to say, oh, it's not like the cryptid stories, but this sounds more like a cryptid more than like an alien story. I don't know.
So large on these plains. They're completely flat and covered in snow. I looked to our left, and then I saw it. It was crouched down and trying not to be seen. I realized how smart these things were. Much smarter than I would have ever expected. These things, they were flanking us. I whispered to James my suspicions of what's going on, and he had the same thought. I made up a quick plan in my head, and I relayed it to James, our best course of action. I told him to start backing away slowly, but to always maintain eye contact. As soon as I finished telling him
Like SCP-173.
my idea, I do another quick count. Now only 3 pairs of orange eyes. Another one went somewhere. The one that first stood was starting to walk towards us. I helped James up, and I told him to keep an eye on our right side, while I looked to the left. We backed away, but these beasts walked with us, maintaining their distance the whole time.
Yeah, they want to eat
Eventually,
you.
We were only about 100 yards from his house before we turned and ran to his front door. We booked it towards his porch lights, no longer caring to be coy about the situation. Foolishly, I stopped 50 feet short of the porch, and I turned around. Maybe it was curiosity. I don't know, but I regretted it the moment I did it. My body seized up the moment I saw it. Those creatures stopped as soon as I made eye contact. With the creatures ever so slightly illuminated by the porch lights, I realized that these things seemed otherworldly. They were tall, probably 6 or 7 feet, and they were insanely thin and lanky, almost like a basketball player. They were
Jeez.
so pale, and they stared right back with these intense orange eyes from before.
Okay.
I just looked back.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I would have tried to shoot one of them in the face. Because that, like me personally, I would have thought, oh, you're following me back home. You're just gonna come back later and kill me. or something. So I would just be all, it's too late, we're home. I'm just gonna open fire or boom. But that's also personally it would also be because I'm just terrified. I'm gonna be real. I would be too terrified to think clearly, and I'd just immediately try to shoot them if like they were following me. As soon as they started following me, I would have just I as soon as I realized, I would have just shot one of them in the face or tried to and see if that kills them, which it probably wouldn't. I or maybe it would just damage them a lot that they would run off, but you never know with like stuff like this. This is like in a horror movie type fashion where it's like a cryptid and it's essentially like a wild animal. Some animals get more aggressive if you like do something that hurts them a lot. Like if you shoot them, sometimes I think like bears get all aggro and aggressive sometimes. And like sure, you shot them in the face or the eye, or you shot them in some place very vital that hurts a lot, it would maybe enrage them for a little bit, and despite them bleeding out, they'll charge you and try to kill you because you pissed them off. Or they couldn't take the pain and then they'd be all they'll oh fuck this, and then they turn around and run. That's it's always a gamble. But at the very least, like it would what would be smart is you shoot them if you're being attacked, obviously. I mean that's why you need a weapon. You just need to defend yourself. If you're gonna be attacked, at least go out fighting.
Back, less afraid, but more curious. And a few seconds later, James screamed. "What are you doing?" I pulled myself out of the weird trance I found myself in, and I sprinted towards his house. I jumped inside and bolted the door, all while his drunk uncle swore at us for making too much noise. I looked out of the windows with my gun in hand, but I didn't see a thing. Nothing but fresh tracks. I pulled the curtains back where they were, and we heard the strangest noise, anything other than a person I've ever heard. It sounded like a dog's howl, but it repeated, almost like it was coming from a Siamese gibbon, in repeated pulses in different pitches and tones. The uncle looked like he instantly sobered up after hearing it, and he started locking all the doors and windows in the house. To our surprise, all of James's dogs were back, but they were very frightened and confused, cowering in a corner. We watched through the windows for almost the entire night, until I eventually needed to fall asleep. But we never had any other problems since. Whatever these things were, they were fast, they were smart, and they were nothing I've ever seen before. It looked like some strange dog man straight from tribal legend.
Isn't there like a cryptid that's like it's called like a dog man or something? I don't know. It's kind of horrifying. Not gonna lie.
I'm not a superstitious type of guy, but I hope it was somehow just a really elaborate dream, even if my friend and his uncle can recall the night too.
I was a young child at the time, but I wasn't
Okay, you know, it said it was just 3 stories, but oh well, let's keep going, I guess.
the only person in my house to have an odd experience. I mentioned this previously on this subreddit when discussing what kind of demon this was, and someone recommended a book, which I bought, but to no avail, as it didn't have any type of spirit or demon matching this disgusting figure. So yeah, I've given up that search. I'm unsure of my age in this, as I was so young. 3 or 4 at a guess. But these memories still stick with my family and I. I have a very vivid memory of looking outside. It was sunny, but the sky soon became a greenish-yellow haze.
Oh my god, fucking ad.
Online on Mac immerses you in a universe with thousands of star systems.
God.
The best way to
Eve sucks, stop giving me that ad. FYI, I know some people like that game. Me, I thought it was ass. I went through a phase where I tried out a bunch of free MMORPG games, and Eve I just didn't couldn't get into.
Explain this color is like the colors of highly radiated areas in Fallout NV and Fallout 3. A sickly baby dookie
Fallout?
green. I sat there curious as to why the color had changed, and didn't mind until I felt
Hey, what the hell did she say?
inside.
I just heard
It
Fallout.
was sunny, but the sky soon became a greenish-yellow haze. The best way to explain this color is like the colors of highly radiated areas in Fallout NV and Fallout 3. A sickly baby dookie green.
Oh, okay. So yeah, she said it looked like Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3. Okay, okay, I get it. I get it. I got you. I got you. I play those games. However, I'm kind of burned out on Fallout New Vegas. I used to only play Fallout 3 and because I didn't like New Vegas when it came out. And then like recently I started playing New Vegas, got into it. I completed like one of the DLCs and then I got burned out. Like, I want something else to play. I have Fallout 76 also. I played a little bit, but then I got burned out because I used to play that a lot. And I haven't reinstalled it, so.
I sat there curious as to why the color had changed, and didn't mind until I felt unsettled, vulnerable, and exposed. I ducked below the window and cried until my eldest sister, we call her Anne, came in to ask me what was wrong. I just told her the sky was scary. She sighed, telling me everything was okay before embracing me. Little did I know the odd experience I witnessed was only a splinter of the activity that came from that house. Anne, my mum, my dad, and my brother have very vivid experiences, though only my mum and sister will speak of their events. I'll start with my sisters, as I vaguely remember the incident. We were all in our room that my two sisters and I shared. Being like all kids, we were playing and having minor arguments, when Anne suddenly exclaimed for us all to hide. Confused, I obeyed as a sudden urge to just disappear from the
Okay, it's just a normal occurrence for them, I guess. Is that what's going on here?
tension arose. She later told me that when she looked out the window, she saw a grotesque figure approaching.
Ugh.
She could tell
Like
there
a
was
gremlin.
a negative energy around it, and demanded for us to hide as she feared what would happen if it saw us. As she peered from her hiding place, she saw a large golden frog-like eye covering most of the window. Its odd scaly grey-green flesh oozing. It blinked before looking right at her. She said she just felt dread as it smiled, bearing jagged, rotten teeth, and within seconds it was gone.
Don't worry, it was just a lizard person. Also, I just noticed my tracking. I keep losing tracking. If you notice, my model starts acting weird. Like, okay, this is me leaning back. Then yeah, and then I just notice sometimes it just starts to lose tracking for some reason. I don't know.
My mum had had a similar experience as
Okay, is it just me or is my eyes immediately wandering to the boobs? Is it just me doing that? It's just me.
Anne. She was outside gardening while we were all indoors, when she had a sudden urge to look up from the garden to see a bipedal frog-like grotesque creature
Jeez.
approaching the house from the backyard. My mother is a pretty religious person, and as the creature approached, she started to pray, louder and louder.
Again, this sounds more like a cryptid thing rather than an alien UFO thing. So, like, it's kind of strange that it's in this story, story compilation, because it feels more like a cryptid than like an alien related thing. But whatever. I mean, the last one, I would argue that one's more of a cryptid because there's like no signs of it being like an. Well, he said it looked otherworldly, just because it looks weird. Maybe that's why they're saying that. And then this one, they said it looks like a frog person or something. I don't know.
Louder as the creature came closer. She finished up the Our Father prayer with a strong Amen and claimed to witness what she called a large bright hand reach down from the sky and hold the creature at bay. Eventually both vanished into thin air, and after that she also felt a weight on her chest at night and would hear strange noises from the master bedroom, as well as weird scratches appearing on us kids. The house was unsettling. Now around this time,
Okay, if this is this gonna just end up being like a haunted house thing? Because again, doesn't sound like it's an alien thing. See a frog person, maybe that's a cryptid or whatever. I mean, some people could argue some cryptids are aliens. Like, wasn't there that one? I forgot what it was called. There's that one that's literally an alien. That one cryptid. They have it in Fallout 76 also. I forgot what it's called, but it's like literally shaped like an alien. It's like the something monster. I don't know. I'd have to look it up again at one point.
my stepbrother, we'll call him Arthur, had passed away in a car accident. Arthur was a troubled teen, suffering a lot of abuse from my dad's disturbed ex-wife.
Jesus Christ. Oof. That just sounds terrible. So I wait, so it's like so he was like it was from like the person their father was married to before their mother. At least I hope to God. Like geez.
He crashed into a tree across from a farm, and the farmer claimed he heard the crash at about 1 a.m. and figured he would check in the morning. At 6 a.m. he saw the accident, ran over only to head back inside to call 911. Arthur was still warm, and it was assumed he'd died maybe 30 minutes before the farmer had decided to check. This wasn't the weird
Lazy
part,
ass farmer.
During this time, a priest that my family was good friends with was visited by Arthur at about 3 a.m. that morning. Arthur woke him up and sat down in a chair in his bedroom, to where he confessed his sins and told the priest things about the home that he would have no idea about, like the back door being tampered with while Arthur was kicked out of the house only 3 days prior to the accident. Arthur was trying to break in to hurt my brother, but couldn't get in, and my mum and dad knew what happened right away and fixed the door. That morning, after the police had called my family, the priest called and asked if Arthur was home. He had come to him during the night to confess his sins and apologize for everything he had done. Most importantly,
Well, that's strange. So he was trying to break into his house because he was being crazy, and then he went to a priest and apologized, and he just so happened to die somehow the next morning.
breaking the back door.
I think that's what they're
My
saying.
mum wept and told him that my stepbrother had just passed in a car accident, and this shook up my family. The priest was a good family friend, but not close enough to know all about the things Arthur had done. Also considering Arthur hadn't been to church in 2 years. A year later, my family had called the priest to help perform an exorcism on the home. He said when he walked in, he instantly felt dread, and my parents believed that home was a portal to hell. There is no way to explain the
Okay, so is this more of a ghost thing than an alien? I'm just asking this because this literally says it's UFOs and aliens. So it seems like it's more of a religious thing, like with ghosts and stuff. Well, ghosts don't necessarily equal religious or religion, despite what some people think. But yeah, this feels like it would be more with like ghost stories so far. Like other than the weird lizard man. Well, that just more of a cryptid, I would say. But they said this whole house just has weird shit going on. But yeah, I don't think this fits with this and the previous one doesn't fit with the compilation's title because it's again, see, look in the top corner, three UFOs and aliens horror stories animated. I mean, two of them seemed more alien related, maybe. I mean, the first one was super not believable to me, anyway.
Things that happened around that place. We moved out, selling our portal hell home to that priest when he retired, and he took it on as a challenge. I've never had an experience with odd forces again, until I was a freshman at college. And you can doubt me, but I still have a lingering memory of that place, and always feeling scared. The original house was way worse, apparently, before my parents had it torn down, and a new one stood on the property. And that new house was the one that I grew up in.
Okay. So yeah, spooky stories. I mean, there were technically four stories, was right? I don't know. I wasn't. But yeah, it's very spooky stories. Like, hold on, let me. Yeah, we're gonna end the video right here. There we go, loaded in. But yeah, oof. So yeah, the couple of them were actually like alien stuff related, and then the other one, the like, I guess the third one was more like a cryptid. I would say. Yeah, it was like definitely more like a cryptid. Eh, I don't know. I already forgot how many stories were in this. Let me just go through. Okay, yeah, the first one, the people that liked Avatar. So yeah, alien related, and then he claims, oh, he didn't lose his memory, and I don't believe that one. And then the second one, the Stranger Things reference, yeah, that one's an alien one. Yeah, then the third one was dog monster things. They looked more like cryptids from the description and the animation. And then the fourth one, that one was more of like a haunting. So yeah, those last two I don't think really fit with the video compilation's title, but maybe it's also because they just didn't have that many like alien related stuff uploaded. But whatever, it's interesting. But anyway, if you enjoyed the reaction, like, comment, and subscribe. It's this was weird. Yeah, but yeah, like I was gonna originally look for like more by Llama Arts, but I decided, nah, let's just react to like a spooky stories animated by someone else. Which I'll be honest, some of it reminds me of early Llama Arts. I don't know. I don't know why, but it does. But yeah, that was interesting. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Sharing grows the channel. Well, it'll help grow the channel. It's not required though. And yeah, I hope you all have a good one. I'll see you all next time. Peace.